In the previous video, you have learned how to identify the substituents and how to name the substituents. In this video, you will learn how to name the compound.
This is the trick. You only have to fulfill 4 rules. Okay, the first one is you have to find the longest chain. And second, you have to number the chain. Third, you have to name and number the substituents. And last, you have to arrange the substituents according to alphabet order. Alright, the first example, a cyclic alkane. So first rule, we have to find the longest chain. So let's say I want to choose this as my longest chain, the blue one. So how many carbon here? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon. So we have 6 carbon. And we have another option, which is the red one. So how many carbon here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is longer than before, which is 7 carbon. So this is our longest chain. So 7 carbon is heptane. So now we already fulfill the first rule. Let's proceed with the second rule, which is you have to number the chain. Okay, so to number the chain, we have 2 options. Either you want to number from right hand side or left hand side. So which numbering system is correct? The first thing that you have to do is you have to identify the nearest substituent from carbon number 1. Second, you have to make sure the substituent attached at the lower carbon number. For example, this one. So from the left hand side, the substituent attached at carbon number 3. From right hand side, the substituent attached at carbon number 5. So 3 is lower than 5. So this is our numbering system. So now we have fulfilled the second rule. Let's proceed with the third rule, which is you have to name and number the substituents. So in this case, we have alkyl group with 1 carbon. So 1 carbon is methyl. So now we have to number the substituents. So methyl attached at carbon number 3. So it will be 3-methyl. So now we fulfill the third rule. Now let's proceed with the fourth rule, which is alphabetize. Okay, since we only have 1 substituent, so you don't have to arrange the substituent. Just go ahead and write down 3-methyl, and we have heptane as our parent chain, and then we have to combine together, and we got the answer, 3-methyl heptane. Super easy.
Yes, super easy. Let's try another example.
Let's say you have compound like this. First, you have to find the longest chain. So we have a few options here. So this is our first option. So how many carbon here? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon. So this is 6 carbon. So we have another option, which is the red one. So how many carbon? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 carbon, which is longer than 6 carbon. So it could be our longest chain. But we have another option, which is green one. So how many carbon here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Also 7. So which one is our longest chain? So it doesn't matter because it is the same, which is also heptane. So we have fulfilled our first rule. Let's proceed with the second rule, which is you have to number the chain. So we have 2 options. Either you want to number from right hand side or left hand side. So which one is the correct numbering system? As always, you have to identify the nearest substituent from the carbon number 1. So from left hand side, our first substituent attached at carbon number 4. And from right hand side, our substituent is attached at carbon number 2. So carbon number 2 is lower than carbon number 4. So this is our correct numbering system. So now we have fulfilled the second rule. Let's proceed with the third rule. So you have to name and number the substituent. So we have 2 substituents here. The first substituent is 1 carbon, which is methyl, attached at carbon number 2, which is 2-methyl. And now second substituent is this one. We have 2 carbon. 2 carbon is ethyl, attached at carbon number 4. It is 4-ethyl. Now we have fulfilled the third rule. Let's proceed with the fourth rule. You have to arrange the substituents according to alphabet order. So for this, you have to look at the first letter, which is M and E. So E comes first, then M. So 4-ethyl will become the first, and 2-methyl become the second. So just go ahead and arrange. So we have 4-ethyl followed by 2-methyl, and we have heptane as our parent chain. You just combine and got the answer: 4-ethyl 2-methyl heptane.
Super duper easy. Okay, now let's try the more complicated compound.
Let's try another example. So you have compound like this. First, you have to find the longest chain. So we have a few options here. So the red one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon. So we have 6 carbon here. Let's try another option, which is the blue one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also 6 carbon. And then we have another option, also 6 carbon. And then another option, also 6 carbon. So let's try another option, which is the green one. So how many carbon here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 carbon, which is longer than 6 carbon. It could be our longest chain, but we have another option, which is the orange one. So how many carbon here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is our longest chain, 8 carbon, which is octane. So now we have fulfilled the first rule. Let's proceed with the second rule. You have to number the chain. So as always, we have two options. Either you want to number from the right hand side or left hand side. So which one is the correct system? So first you have to look at the first substituent, which must be near to the carbon number 1. So substituent at the right hand side attached at carbon number 3, and the substituent on the left hand side attached at carbon number 4. So 3 is lower than 4, so this is our numbering system. So now we have fulfilled the second rule. Let's proceed with the third rule. You have to name and number the substituents. So we have 3 substituents here. We have 1 carbon, which is methyl, and then we have another 1 carbon, which is methyl, and then the third substituent is 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. Should be butyl, but remember this one? This is third butyl, so this should be third butyl. So now we have to number the substituents, but before that, we have 2 methyl, same substituent. So you have to combine together, and because we have 2 methyl, it will be dimethyl. If you have 3 methyl, it would be trimethyl. If you have 4 methyl, it will be tetramethyl. So in this case, we only have 2 methyl. So it is dimethyl. So first methyl attached at carbon number 3. The second methyl attached at carbon number 5. So it is 3,5-dimethyl. So third butyl attached at carbon number 4. So it is 4-third butyl. And now we have fulfilled the third rule. Now let's proceed with the fourth rule, which is you have to arrange the substituents according to alphabet order. So now we have dimethyl, which is you have to ignore di. If you have tri, you have to ignore tri. If you have tetra, you have to ignore tetra, because it is not a name. Di is represent 2 methyl. So you have to ignore. You have to consider M as an alphabet. So for third butyl, which one you have to consider? T or B? So this is special case. For third and set, you have to ignore. But for iso, you have to consider I as an alphabet. Like for example, we have third butyl, set butyl, and isobutyl. Third and set you have to ignore. So you have to consider B as an alphabet. But for isobutyl, you have to consider I as an alphabet. So back to our case, we have 4 third butyl. So you have to consider B as an alphabet. So B comes first as compared to M. So let's go ahead and arrange. So we have 4 third butyl, 3,5-dimethyl, and we have octane as our parent chain. So just combine and then we got the answer: 4 third butyl 3,5-dimethyl octane.